I ain't smart, but I'm gonna talk at you.
My mom would have hit me. I thought about this when I was taking psychology classes in college. They talked about spanking, right? And I feel like our view on spanking, right, is very simplistic. The overall idea with spanking children is that you make children more prone to violence by spanking, right? But I think that that's not very specific. I think it's more about the capacity, right? I don't think the capacity for violence ever changes, right? If you were to take everything away from somebody, how far are they willing to go, right? Is their capacity for violence, right? My hundo percent is like killing, legitimately like taking somebody's life. There's stipulations on what you view as worse, but taking life objectively is probably 100%. I would say that most of us have the capacity to do that. So I don't believe that spanking your children increases their capacity for violence.
I see what you're saying.
But I do view that spanking your children creates a benchmark of what behavior is applicable to cause physical violence. If you spank your kid for stealing cookies, right, then you essentially tell your kid that physical violence is applicable for stealing. I would say that's the lesson that you're teaching. If you lie, I can smack you, right? Which means if someone lies to you, you can smack them, right? It's within their level. You're creating the levels. Like, how is it that every other lesson that you learn as a child is created like with a context, right? Like even when you train a dog, right? You have to tell them right away. Like if you don't catch them piss on the floor and you beat the shit out of them, then they're just like, oh, he just randomly beats the shit out of me.
Like that dude's,
and then he'll associate like just seeing you with beating the shit out of him, right? But if you catch him piss on the floor and you give him a smack, he's like, oh shit, piss on the floor gets me smacked. Like he can associate the behaviors. So why wouldn't it be any different with a child?
Yeah, and then
right?
Same thing.
Sure, there's probably more constructive ways, like more effective ways to like change behavior, but violence is always within the capacity. So if you say something like road rage, right, getting cut off in traffic, someone being rude to you is not an applicable use for physical violence, that's just where you're at. Some people grow up with being rude to somebody is a reason for physical violence.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. Like, if you get the choice to talk as crazy as you want to people, but there is the possibility that if you talk too wild, someone might smack you in your mouth.
As a kid, if I was screaming in the store, acting a fool, throwing everything off the shelves, my mom would have hit me. So I think spanking your kids is a good way to say certain things will cause you physical violence in this life.
I mean, think of like how like rude people have become. Like I'm broad brushing here, but like you see people at the grocery store, at malls, yada yada, always like just saying the wildest shit to each other. And maybe it's just more prevalent because of the internet and videos and phones and all that. But if there was a thought of if you're super rude and unnecessarily disrespectful, someone might just like give you a little hot pot there on the mouth. You're probably going to be a little less rude and disrespectful. And therefore, as a society, we're a little more polite to each other.